On this episode of Tiger TV, Just Bats.
Hi, Baseball Nation. This is Spiker Helms, where I interview the best in the business, where I try to find out what got them to the top. This is their journey, their stories, and our questions. This is Tiger TV.
We'll go do our introduction. So just we're kind of doing reverse order.
Okay.
All right. Welcome back to another edition of Tiger TV. I am your host, Spiker Helms. I am here at JustBats.com, well, actually Pro Athlete, and right next to me I have Mac Moore. He is work here at Pro Athlete and working under the JustBats.com area. And welcome to the show.
Thanks for coming out.
Oh yeah, we've been touring the facility. It's unbelievable. They have a racquetball court, a basketball court. And then obviously what everyone loves, they have the bats, they have the gloves, everything along those lines. It's crazy with the history behind this place and the ownership, and where they're actually going to go down to doing oil changes with cars, taking on the Jiffy Lube franchise, but then they went down towards the sports route. So anything more that we need to know?
Yeah, I mean the whole Pro Athlete Sporting Goods, JustBats.com, it's all born out of kind of that customer experience. So Scott, our CEO, our owner, his parents, like you said, looking for a franchise. They had a bad experience in the sporting goods industry and thought they could do a better job, and we're definitely a customer focused company. So
it did start with just the bats, or was there other things that happened before the actual website launched?
Yeah, actually, it was just like a mom and pop sporting goods. We're talking apparel, catcher's gear, everything. So not a huge focus. So once the sporting goods kind of took off, then we found our niche.
And then when 1999 happened, and then the internet exploded, you guys were right there and right on time.
Absolutely.
So let's capitalize on you guys knowing the bat industry really, really well. One of the top leading industry leaders for bats. With wood bats, what would you recommend to a high school guy or even like a youth guy? What type of bat would you recommend to him for just training purposes and all that?
Yeah, I mean, you've got so many different kinds of wood types, so I know it's pretty tough for guys to find what they're looking for. Different turn models even inside of that, so variables are huge there. Honestly, if you're just getting into it, start cheap. For younger guys, for sure, there's not a huge need to get Ink.Dot certified, MLB approved for your first bat. So unfortunately, there's not a perfect kind of archetype.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've tried different wood types playing throughout your career. You just kind of got to find something. It's totally a feel thing.
Really?
If you're talking wood type, yeah, for sure.
Now, with the models or anything like that, would you recommend a certain model for them, or even like a certain wood type, or?
Yeah. So starting out, I would say a 110. 110 is going to be your most common turn model. Basically, standard knob, nothing crazy, no huge bell knob, thick handle, and with wood bats, that's a huge breaking point on wood bats. So
More of a balance issue than being able to control that barrel through the zone and all of that.
110, even profile all the way down, medium barrel. It's not a huge barrel, but if you're looking for introductory turn model, 110, 271, those are probably the ones.
Then you kind of just say experiment with the wood types, so like maple, birch, ash, kind of experiment with that, or is there a certain type of wood that you would want to go with?
Yeah, so I mean, those are the three big ones. Those are basically the three most common MLB approved wood types too. Ash is going to be a little bit more flexible. It's going to be lightweight. For young guys starting out, going to like a -3 wood bat is probably a pretty big transition.
Yeah.
Even youth wood bats, you're probably looking at like a -5 or a -7. So if you've been swinging a -10 the whole time, it's kind of a big undertaking. So that's where ash is good. It's got that lightweight feel. Kind of the step up, birch is kind of a hybrid between the maple and the ash.
Yeah.
So it's got that hardness that people are looking for in maple. People say maple's got the pop. I mean, it does. It's a dense timber. But birch is a little bit lighter. It's a little bit more flexible. So that would be a good next step up. If you want to go straight into maple, that's cool too. Just know that that's going to have a heavier feel.
And I have these dads sometimes. You hear the dads like that they're in baseball, but they're not in baseball, and they're like, you know what? I just make it out of an oak tree. And I'm like, well, I don't know if that would work because that'd be pretty heavy, it'd be pretty dense. I don't know if we'd want to do that.
Right. No, that's a good point too, because MLB actually approves hickory. And
Really?
if you know hickory, I mean, back in the day, they used that all the time.
Yeah.
In Cooperstown, Babe Ruth, some of his bats made of hickory, but we're talking like 47.
Oh yeah,
up-
he's
up to
swinging.
like 50 ounces.
He
It's
basically
crazy.
cut down the tree and then said, "Hey, let's swing it."
Right. I mean, people make furniture out of hickory
Yeah.
and flooring, so you think you're going to get that bat head around? Probably not.
Yeah, another question that I hear all the time is, what about college baseball and pro baseball? The pro guys swing wood, and then the college guys swing metal. Why is that? Why doesn't just college swing wood?
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, they have a budget for it. They have
Oh,
the
for
budget
sure.
for the wood, but they decide to go more towards the metal bats. Why?
For sure.
Why is that?
I think it did come across as like a durability thing, just
Uh-huh.
wood bats splitting, stuff like that. I think it was like early 70s they switched to aluminum. And then ever since then it's been kind of a gradual regulation of the performance of these things.
Mhm.
So now since 2011, we've got BB Core.
Yes.
Whole idea was wood-like performance out of these metal and composite bats. We're pretty much there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still going to
It's
have a
starting
little
to tick
higher.
up a little bit
Yeah.
more. Every year it just keeps on ticking.
But these manufacturers got some smart guys, so
Yeah,
they,
yeah.
they've had this regulation to work inside for a while,
Mhm.
so they're doing a lot with bats. But you know, I can totally see the side of that. So these are wood-like performance bats. Why don't we just use wood again? Especially if you're talking elite level D1. That's kind of your proving ground for pro ball. So
Yeah.
why not have those guys do it? You know, it's tough. I think there is that fact to where wood bats are going to split. You're still going to get a longer life out of most of these aluminum composite bats than that.
Do you think it's also because of sponsorship, or do you think that has no factor whatsoever?
It definitely has a
Yeah.
factor. Yeah, I mean it's a business.
Yeah.
Omaha is crazy College World Series
Yeah.
time. So
Well, and then you see all this new gear just pop out, like in the College World Series, and
Mhm.
everyone's just like, you know what, I want that, I want
Right.
that, I want that, I want
it's
that.
it's been a great platform for a lot of those big manufacturers to drop their newest stuff. College World Series. This year the Rawlings Quattro, the glow stick, bright yellow.
Everything's neon. We talked about that in the warehouse over there, and we're like, man, everything's neon. We're like,
Mhm.
yeah, that's the new thing.
Pretty shocking. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, there's a business side to it, but I don't know if all college programs are going to run off of NCAA regulations.
Yeah.
You're not necessarily still dealing with the cream of the crop, the guys who are
Mhm.
definitely going pro.
Yeah.
So I almost think there's a little bit of a leveling factor
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
So if you're looking at like NAI or even up to D2 or something like that, these wood composite and aluminum, they're still way more forgiving.
Mhm.
So I think it kind of levels the playing field.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, in previous episodes, I mean, coaches have said, even in the Missouri Valley, they say it's almost comparable to low A ball. I mean, the guys that they're pumping out there with 90, 91, 92, and then you'll have an 88 guy that kind of dices you up on the corners. So, I mean, with those metal bats, those guys are probably thankful they have the metal, because I mean, it'd be kind of a boring game if it wasn't.
Yeah, pitchers might not like that too much, but yeah, I think there's that side of it too. Maybe inject some offense into the game. I
Yeah.
think that's probably, not that I can prove it, I think that's probably part of the reason aluminum came into play in the first place.
Yeah, and with the college game, they play in February and they go all the way to June, and then dealing with all these weather inclements and all that for the bats. And some guys, even with the youth, they'll play in February if they find a tournament. Sometimes tournament bars provide that. Now, how do you know when the bat is just dead? Because you're dealing with all this. It goes hot, it goes cold. Like, you're dealing with all these different weather inclements. Like, how do you know when? Man, I think my bat's dead. I can't.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it'd be cool if there was like some kind of gauge on the barrel that
Yeah, well, like
tell you what it's got in it.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
honestly, it's kind of, you just kind of know.
Mhm.
Aluminum, it's going to be super hot right out of the wrapper. Composite is, with the advancements now, it's going to be hot out of the wrapper too,
Yeah.
in most cases. But it's just kind of, bats are going to lose their pop over time, especially aluminum.
Mhm.
Composite, those fibers kind of stretch out a little bit, so you get that prolonged useful life. Composite is actually a little bit easier to tell, because when those things are done, they're pretty
They're
much done.
toast.
I mean, barrel cracks on you. Those fibers just stretch out a little bit too much.
It's like swinging a cardboard box up there.
Right, and I mean, it sounds funny, it looks funny, feels funny, so you just kind of know. Aluminum side, it's a little bit harder to tell. You know, depending on care and how much you use it, a lot of factors, but I mean, you can get a couple seasons out of these bats
So
for
like
sure.
2 or 3 years
Yeah,
possible.
probably. I'd say that's pretty good. I mean, I've had my bat from basically my first year of college. I still swing it, kind of mess
Just
around, you
around.
know.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's still got life in it.
I wish I could get my hands on those old BSRs and
Absolutely.
see how it flies. Do you
Yeah.
have any of those back in the warehouse?
That's the one, man. Keep it in the closet. Hang on to that.
No, I'm not letting anybody use that. That's mine. Just go out to like a little league field and just try to drop tanks.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Well, one of our perks too, we go out to the T-Bones. I know.
Oh yeah. Can't say T-bones.
Yeah, so we go out there, have a little scrimmage, and that's where you show it off.
Oh yeah, and that ballpark, it flies out of there when
Yeah.
you start going through and getting good BP, and you get someone that's throwing like just fastballs right up
Oh,
in
yeah.
here, just let it over that big monster. That's awesome. That's awesome. So let's get down to the nitty gritty on the bats, on what's the hot bat. And let's go with metal first, and then we'll go with wood. What's the trusted wood bat company right now? And then first, let's go with the metal. So what's the hot bat right now for the metal?
DeMarini is killing it. Easton, obviously, going to be one of the bigger names. They sponsor Little League World Series. They're all in that. Rawlings has been making some really good strides. I mean, College World Series, ton of teams are swinging Rawlings.
Well, I mean, when you get that neon bat and everyone didn't even think about, they're like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
there was clothing, but not the bat. We didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
And
we did the neon accents, but not.
Yeah. Like Under Armour's like, oh man, we did that and so that's funny. Even Nike, they're like, oh, we did the neon clothing, we didn't even do the bat. So
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
hilarious.
Slugger's going to be big too. It's a good time to be looking for a bat now, man. There's a lot of options.
Yeah. And then what about wood bats? What would you say is the trusted wood bat company?
Yep, Marucci has blown up last couple years for sure. Louisville always in the mix. Old Hickory as well.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of Old Hickory of late. I've seen a lot of pro guys swing that.
Yep.
I mean, even the minor league guys, because those Chandler bats, those things are so expensive. You see a lot of those minor league guys swinging those Old Hickories because it just seems like it's kind of like that happy medium.
Yeah.
So, but that's good. And with the wood bat types in the pros, what are they usually swinging in the pros? Is it maple or is it?
Yeah, first time maple was approved was 96, I think. And since then, it's, huge percentages maple. Guys still swing ash. Birch is still going to be there too, but those are really the three main ones you'll see on the pro level.
Gotcha.
But those guys are big and strong enough to be able to get that barrel around with a maple bat. So.
Well, guys, thanks again, Mac, for letting us come in and all of that,
Absolutely.
and being able to tour the facility. And it's funny because they have a weight room and all of this. So I'll let you get back to working out and preparing for those corporate Olympics. Because it's kind of funny. Kansas City has a corporate type of Olympics where the companies face each other and all of that. So it's kind of interesting.
It's a fun time.
Well, Mac, thanks again. I appreciate it.
Yeah, glad we could get you out here.
Yep, guys, go to justbats.com and check out all the stuff that they have, and we'll talk to you soon. See ya. It feels like I'm actually in a college clubhouse right now.
Yeah.
It really does, except without the racquetball court.